Hi guys, and welcome to my WCW Fall Brawl 1997 pay-per-view review. Now, Fall Brawl came to us all the way from Winston Salem, North Carolina, September 14, 1997. We had two titles on the line here at Fall Brawl, the Cruiserweight title and the TV title. But the big match of the night, of course, was the double ring War Games cage match, which pitted Team NWO up against the Four Horsemen. Or so we thought at that time. But anyway guys, we'll get to that cage match in just a few moments. But first of all, let's check out that full card from the night. Okay guys, now going over some of my matches of the night. That first up match between Cruiserweight champ Chris Jericho taking on challenger Eddie Guerrero. That was just a really awesome match, a really fun match. These guys put a lot into it, a lot of effort, a lot of great awesome maneuvers from these two guys. And this matchup just had everything. As I say, it was really fun, it was non-stop paced action. A really cool matchup to start off the pay-per-view. And we had a title change with Eddie Guerrero. He got the pinfall with the frog splash over Chris Jericho, and Guerrero became the new Cruiserweight champion. Also, another great matchup was the tag team match between the Faces of Fear. They took on Wrath and Mortis with James Vandenberg. Now this, earlier in the night we had a really cool tag match with the Steiners taking on Harlem Heat. But I'd actually put this one over that one, as great as that match was. This match just had it all, really. Mortis with his awesome martial arts style and Wrath with his power. Taking on the Faces of Fear, we had heaps of really cool double team power moves going on there between with Wrath and Mortis and the Faces of Fear as well. Double power bombs and things like that. James Vandenberg on the apron going nuts. This was a really cool tag match, and it was placed later on in the night, later on in the card, and yeah, it was a really cool match. Got to check that one out too. As I say, a heap of great double team power moves and just a really cool tag match there. Okay, and we also had another really cool tag match here as well, just before the main event got underway for the night. It was Team NWO, Macho Man Randy Savage and Scott Hall with Liz at ringside, taking on Team WCW, Total Package, Lex Luger and Diamond Dallas Page. Now of course, as I say, we had those two rings, double rings set up, and this would really come into play in this match. So it was a really cool match. As I say, the heat between these two factions, WCW and NWO, was really at its peak at this time, which really added to this match as well. But later on in the match, we had Scott Hall kicking Lex Luger in between the rings, and Lex Luger was getting stuffed basically in between the rings, getting kicked down by Scott Hall. And we had Larry Zbyszko commentating, and he was saying, from his commentating position, he was saying, "I'm not having any more of this. No more of this is going on. I can't stand to see, Scott Hall kicking WCW Lex Luger down in between the ring." So he said, "I'm going to go out and do something about this." So he ran out from his commentary position down to ringside, went into the ring with Scott Hall, and was saying, "Come here, come on, come and take me on." And Scott Hall was getting goaded into taking on Larry Zbyszko. And anyway, during this time where Larry was distracting Scott Hall, Luger crawled up from back up in between the rings, and he actually ended up rolling up Scott Hall into a small package. Larry counted the 3 count, and that was it. Team WCW won. So one you got to check out. Yeah, a really cool match. But the big match of the night, guys. Now this was the first ever Fall Brawl War Games match that I had seen. And I was pretty impressed. Me and my mates, we sat down and watched this, and we were pretty impressed with this match. It was really cool. Not just a single ring cage match, it was a double ring cage match with the roof on top. We had Team NWO, pretty strong team. We had Buff Bagwell, Konnan, Syxx, and Kevin Nash. And they took on the Four Horsemen. Of course, Ric Flair, Steve Mongo, McMichael, Chris Benoit, and Curt Hennig, who what we thought was the fourth member. Of course, just weeks prior on Nitro, Curt Hennig had accepted the offer from Arn Andersons to take his spot in the Four Horsemen. So everyone thought Curt Hennig was a member of the Four Horsemen. Now, earlier in the night at Fall Brawl, there was a shot of Curt Hennig lying, apparently beaten down backstage, as Gene Okerlund went in to check in on him, and everyone had thought that the NWO had gotten to Curt Hennig and had beaten him down. But as it turned out, that was just a big farce, and that was not the case at all. Because later in the night in this matchup, as each man entered one by one, we had all four members of the NWO in. We had the three members of the Four Horsemen in, and everyone thought it was going to be 4-on-3. But Curt Hennig did come out with his arm in a sling, and everyone thought, yeah, Curt Hennig, he's fighting tough, he's fighting fit. He's going to come out and join this match, even with his arm in a sling from the beatdown previous in the night. So anyway, Curt Hennig comes out, takes off his sling, and inside his sling reveals he has handcuffs, and proceeds to join the NWO, so it becomes a 5-on-3 automatically, and proceeds to handcuff Steve Mongo, McMichael, and Chris Benoit to the cage. And basically, those five members of the NWO, Curt Hennig included, of course, systematically beat down Ric Flair and the two members of the Four Horsemen who were handcuffed to the ring. And basically, this match only ends by one team giving up, throwing in the towel, so to speak. And at this stage, the Four Horsemen just had no choice, and Mongo threw in the towel and said, hey, I give up. As he had to at that point. Flair was being taken apart by the Four Horsemen. So, the NWO ended up winning this match. It was brutal in the end, with the famous quote now by Kevin Nash saying, death of the Horsemen right in their own backyard. And at that stage, unfortunately for all Horsemen fans, Kevin Nash was right on. Because it was the death of the Horsemen, a great treachery there by Curt Hennig. And of course, with Curt Hennig joining the NWO on a later episode of Monday Nitro after Fall Brawl, Curt Hennig, of course, would come out in Ric Flair's robe, the arm sleeves cut off, mocking the Nature Boy, because the Nature Boy Ric Flair was, of course, out of action after, in that War Games cage match. Of course, the big moment of the night was with Curt Hennig slamming Ric Flair's head in that cage door, and that put Ric Flair out of action for several weeks, and Flair had to disband the Horsemen at that stage. And of course, this would lead into further grudge matches down the road, with Flair taking on Hennig subsequently at the next pay-per-view, Halloween Havoc, and World War III after that. So of course, a huge night of treachery and betrayal by one Curt Hennig to Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen as he slammed Flair's head in that steel cage door. A night all WCW fans and Four Horsemen fans will remember. So to sum up Fall Brawl 1997, it was a really awesome pay-per-view, one of the top WCW pay-per-views of that year. Definitely worth going out to check out on the WWE Network. A really solid card, as I say, from top to bottom. Some really awesome matches. The main event was really cool, with Team NWO taking on the Four Horsemen in that War Games cage match. That was really awesome. Definitely worth checking out this pay-per-view. A ton of great action and a lot of great memories here at WCW Fall Brawl 1997. So thanks heaps for checking out my review, and we'll catch you next time.